Org charts can be time-consuming and cumbersome. Visio's org chart wizard automates and simplifies the process so that creating them actually becomes a quick, consistent, and possibly even a fun process. Let's take a look at what's required to utilize Visio's org chart wizard. To use Visio's org chart wizard, we need to start with some sort of data file. This can be in Excel, Access, or even a list from SharePoint. The data file must have some basic information though, including the person's name or title, depending on how specific we are going to be, and to whom they report. It is this Reports To field that allows Visio to create the org chart structure. I have opened the Excel file that we're going to use for our org chart so you can see that this information is here. It's pretty basic. It has the name of a person and their title, as well as that all-important Reports To. You'll notice that Lillian Lacoste, the very first person, does not have anything in the Reports To field. This is what allows Visio to know that she is at the top of the org chart. Let's go ahead and close the Excel file and get into Visio that I already had open. The Visio welcome screen, which shows when we first open Visio, or if you go to File New, gives us a lot of options. We do not want to use the org chart option that shows up at the top. This would just create a regular drawing. We want to use the wizard, so we're going to come down to Template Categories and click on the Business category. Now we get to see the options that we want. Here's the other org chart option that was on the first page, followed by the org chart wizard. We'll go ahead and give that one a click, and then move over and click on Create. The rest of this is just a matter of following the dialog boxes. The first thing it needs to know is, do we want to enter the information or does it already exist? And as we said, we have the information in a file, so we'll simply click Next. We then need to identify what kind of file we have. In this case, we have an Excel file, so we leave the default and click Next once again. As you'd expect, the next step is to actually tell Visio where the file is located. So we'll click Browse and navigate to our Excel file. Once we find it, we'll give it a double click and then click Next one more time. Now we get to the fun part. The next thing that Visio wants to know is which columns or fields in our data file contain the information that Visio needs. If you have given them the same name, there's nothing to do. In our case, the name field in Visio maps to the name field in Excel. Reports To is also called Reports To. But for example, if we didn't have Reports To, we had Manager or Supervisor, then we would use these drop-downs to select the related field from our source file. Once these are all mapped, we click Next. The next option is to choose the columns or fields from our data file that we want to display. Now that's a little bit different. The first one was mapping information, and this says, what do you actually want to show in Visio? You can see that by default, name is over on the right-hand side. If we wanted to show who they reported to, we could select it and click Add. We're going to keep ours very simple, so we're not going to add anything. We're simply going to click Next. This next window actually surprises a lot of people. What it's asking is there any information in your source file that you want added as a part of the field but not displayed on Visio? And this is where we might say, yes, there is. I actually would like to have the Reports To field added as information kind of hidden inside the shapes but not displayed on the diagram itself. We're almost done. We'll click Next. We can designate if we want Visio to automatically break the org chart based on the structure if it happens to be bigger than a page. But most importantly, we do have to identify who is at the top of the org chart. If you remember, we had our person, Lillian Lacoste, all the way at the top. And then all we have to do is click Finish. Depending on the size of your source file, it may take a few seconds or a couple of minutes. But what you have when you're finished is an absolutely complete org chart with all of the information that you had in your source file.